Medicine used to be the dream job. Prestige, purpose, pay. Now junior doctors are striking, morale's in the bin, and people are wondering, is it still worth it? Being a doctor used to mean you were respected. Now it just means arguing with the rota coordinator and diagnosing your friend's rash over FaceTime. So today I'm asking, if I were to start over, would I still become a doctor in 2025? Hello and welcome back. My name's Chris. If you're new here, let me introduce myself. I'm a medical doctor, I'm a content creator. I worked for 2.5 years in the NHS in the UK, and then I moved to Australia. And since then, I've been enjoying the Aussie dream, working as a locum emergency doctor, flying around Australia. And I'm going to be completely honest with you, for a very large chunk of my career and my life, I didn't enjoy medicine. I was very burnt out and depressed and disenfranchised with the whole system for a good number of years, not only during medical school, but for a couple of years after medical school when I was working for the NHS. And at the time, I was convinced I hated medicine, but eventually I realized I just hated the system that I was working in. My life now is very flexible, it's very creative, and it's very fulfilling too. So these days, instead of arguing with NHS rota coordinators, I've traded it for Aussie locums and YouTube deadlines. And it's still stressful at times, but I like the stress now. So what's changed in medicine? So my last video about the UK doctor strikes and why it's all kicking off has definitely picked up a bit of steam. It's getting a bit of traction and attention, probably because people are wondering why this is all going on. I'm not going to repeat that video again. If you want to watch that video, go watch that video here. But essentially, I'm just talking about the reasoning behind the UK doctor strikes, which was pretty much to do with pay erosion, that the rate of the doctor wage rising was not matching the rate of inflation. This has led to rising rates of burnout, morale collapse, and staff shortages throughout the system. There's just a lot less respect from the public and the media for the medical profession as a whole. Of course, I can only really speak for the countries I've worked in, the UK and Australia. The general impression I'm getting is that it's a universal thing. It's just particularly bad in some countries. And when your loan's £80,000 and you're earning £17 an hour, you start to wonder if the title doctor stands for definitely regret. Does this mean that everyone in medicine is hating their lives and wishing that they never did it? That's definitely not the case. So I know a lot of my colleagues who absolutely love what they do. They are thriving in the hospitals, in their jobs. They are progressing in their careers. They make a good living. And I'd say the people that thrive the most in medicine are the people who love the craft, who they love the science. They find it fascinating. They find themselves regularly in flow state, learning about all the things in the human body, treating people, diagnosing conditions, and helping people get better. And I love medicine for those reasons too. But the people who really thrive in medicine are the people who don't mind spending long hours in hospital or long hours with a textbook. And the main issue that I've had with medicine is what I like to call a multi-passion problem, where I have a lot of different interests in different areas of life. And I find it hard to focus on just one thing. Not that I have ADHD or anything, but I just have a lot of different interests where I want to travel, I want to train my body, I want to meditate, I want to socialize. And a big part of being a doctor is sacrificing a lot of those things, mainly because of the time commitment to study and be at work all the time. And the early years of my career were particularly inflexible. So when you're studying in medical school, and the first couple years as a foundation doctor in the UK or your intern years, you really just have to do as you're told and you don't have much control or flexibility over your life. And just something to highlight that as compared to, say, if you were to study something else at university. I remember when I was back at uni and I lived in uni halls, all my friends who weren't medics, who were studying history, geography, the arts, they would probably go to about 3 lectures per week. Whereas me and my medical student friends, we'd be in 9 to 5 plus having to study outside those hours too. And that's something that I was very envious of all my non-medic friends for. The fact that they just had so much free time to pursue other things and just enjoy themselves. But a lot of the time they just ended up going out and drinking anyway. So who knows, I probably would have just done that too. But I like to think I would have explored my other hobbies and passions as well during that time, if I had the time. And saying that, I had a lot of medical school friends. They didn't mind that all they were doing was medicine. All their friends were medics. They would just talk medicine all day. They loved everything about it. And for those type of people, I think it's absolutely great for. And yes, I do have this multi-passion problem, even Creating content, for example, is another passion of mine that I try and do alongside medicine. But there's definitely big parts about being a doctor that I do genuinely love. I think it's very easy to forget the whole reason why we're doing this, and it is to connect with another human being, that human connection. When someone comes into you, they have a problem, and you work together to find a solution to their problem. It's a very satisfying and rewarding feeling that I think is very unique to medicine and potentially other healthcare specialties as well. And it's kind of fun in the sense that you get to use the problem-solving part of your brain. It's almost like you're trying to put together pieces of a puzzle and work out what's going on. And when the system is working and it's not crushing you, and I have had experiences in this in different departments in Australia, it is a very fulfilling job. It feels good to help, and I don't think that will ever get old. In addition to this, what I love about my life now is the flexibility, the opportunities, and the doors it has opened for me having the doctor in my title. I'm something what they call a locum doctor, where I fill in rota gaps around the country. I do a lot of fly-in, fly-out work, just working in different emergency departments across the country. It's super flexible. I choose where I work, I choose when I work, and I just have multiple locum agencies that I find jobs through. In addition to this, it's very well paid, so I actually don't need to work all the time. I tend to just work enough to kind of pay my bills, make a bit of savings, but I don't work excessively just to be at work and to make more money than I need. And yes, this content stuff is a passion of mine, but in some ways, me being a doctor is what makes this content. It's what makes it interesting and relatable and engaging to people. If I were just another dude who was just a creator, I don't think I'd have the life experience and the stories to share with people as much. So in that way, I think medicine gave me the credibility to explore more, not less. It turns out you can be a doctor and do cool shit. However, I would say that this flexibility doesn't come at the start. And especially in the beginning, when you're in medical school, when you're in your foundation training or your intern years, you really don't have much control over your life. You are subject to rosters, you're subject to studying all the time. And this control only comes later on in your career. So if you're willing to sacrifice kind of like your early 20s or whenever you start your medical degree, if you're willing to push through it, your life can get very good and flexible if you wish it to be so. So would I still do it? In 2025, if I were to start over, I was 18 years old or 17 choosing my degree, would I still choose to be a doctor? I'm very grateful for the position I'm in at the moment, but there were very many years of struggle, depression, burnout during medical school and those earlier years of being a doctor, that it does make me question whether I'd be willing to put myself through that again if I knew what it involved. At the same time, it's that suffering and that period of badness is what brought me here. So in some ways, no regrets. If you're considering it, if you're considering going to medical school, ask yourself this. Often we have two different types of motivation. We have our intrinsic motivation and we have our extrinsic motivation. If you're relying on extrinsic motivation to go to medical school, so that's things like you want the prestige, you want your parents to love you, you want a stable job, well, it's not that stable anymore, but you want to make a good living in certain countries, they potentially aren't the strongest reasons to pursue medicine. If you have an intrinsic motivator, like you genuinely find the human body fascinating, you find medicine fascinating, you like problem solving, you like science, you like people, that's important, then they're more solid reasons to go into medicine. If I could go back in time, I would say I'd still do it. But I'd reassure young Chris that things will get better if you push through the hard times and make sure he knows that things will get better. I would also potentially consider, because I went into medical school at 18, I would consider maybe taking a gap year before medical school to explore my other passions, just as so I didn't feel like I was missing out during those kind of early 20s years. At the same time, I probably would have only been 18, so I reckon I would have just ended up living with my parents and working at Sainsbury's. But at least I would have had a little bit of life experience before going into medical school. All right, let's wrap this up. Being a doctor isn't dead, but the profession is changing. A really good question, if you're thinking about it, is don't ask yourself if you should do medicine, ask yourself why you should do medicine. And from my personal experience, you can bend medicine to fit around your life, not the other way around. I would love to know Would you still be a doctor in 2025? Are you thinking about becoming a doctor? Let me know in the comments below. I hope this video was helpful to you. Next week, I'm flying out to rural Queensland for a doctor job, and I'm going to vlog the whole experience, take you along with me, so you can get a taste of the lifestyle that I've built for myself here. I'll see you there.